Hello and welcome to the Bohemian Disciple Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Lemire. I haven't done one of these in quite a while. It's been almost a year. I'll explain perhaps at a later date about why I haven't done this, but just want to do a quick review on current events. And this is under a heading of lawlessness. And I'm coming to the theme of lawlessness from where the scripture talks about lawlessness. The man of sin, Paul talks about the man of sin being revealed. John talks about the spirit of Antichrist, and John talks about sin being lawlessness. It's the thrust to violate the law, to push back against the law, to have my own way and to enforce my own will. The big story in the news right now, today's January 20th, 2026, it's a Tuesday, is the Iranian restoration movement. Since 1979, that would be 37 years. Now that'd be 47 years. The Islamic Republic of Iran has dominated the Iranian people. An Islamic government ruled by mullahs. This is a theocracy, although they call it a republic. It is ruled by the elite, by the religious elite. And now the Iranian people are chanting and calling for the return of their king, the return of the Shah. And thousands are being slaughtered. Some estimates are close to 20,000 people being slaughtered in the last basically 3 weeks. The regime is talking about more like 1,200. The information coming out of Iran is very fragmentary, and what is coming out is just sparse because there's no open flow of information. The internet is being blocked, and phone lines in and out of Iran are blocked. Another current story is the struggle between the immigration customs enforcement agents across the country enforcing the law and removing not just people who are undocumented, but people who have been convicted of heinous crimes. They're looking for them and trying to find them and conducting investigation. Now, the investigation is catching and removing American citizens. They're being detained. They're not being arrested, but they're being detained unless those citizens have been participating in some conspiracy against the law, to break the law, and against the government. Seems like that officer shooting the young woman in her car in Minneapolis are tragic for everybody involved, most of all for the young woman who was shot in the head and for her family. We are routinely being told that the administration is violating civil rights and violating the Constitution of the United States. This points to the fact that lawlessness is rampant around our nation and our world. Now, Sunday, the events of Sunday in Minneapolis were particularly close to me. There was a mob that invaded a house of worship, confronted the pastor, surrounded the worshipers, chanting the name of the young woman who had been shot, and trying to shame the believers and the worshipers that were gathered there. I'm a pastor. I had to ask myself, what would I do in that situation? And my first response was pray and call God's people to pray. I would like to think that I would use the microphone and the loud voice that I have to call God's people to just bow their heads, maybe recite the Lord's Prayer, go and worship in spiritual warfare and confront the enemy that is invading this place that is a place for worship and a place for peace with the presence of God. Now there have been accusations on either side, and I don't want to get into that. That's just picking sides. I think as a pastor, you probably know which side I would tend towards. That's what I want to point you to is the fact that there is hope because Jesus is King. He is in control. Psalm 2 said that the heathen enrage and the people imagine a vain thing. Well, they're doing that. But the Lord is still on his throne. And Jesus told us this would happen. Now, on the day that he had ridden into Jerusalem in what we call the triumphal entry, Palm Sunday, and the day where the crowds are chanting, Hosanna, he who comes in the name of the Lord. After he had gone to the temple, he had cleansed it, he had preached against the temple rulers, the people who were governing the religion and ruling. Then he and his disciples were leaving, and his disciples were admiring the temple. And he said, well, the day's coming when not one stone will be on top of the other. This sparked a question from them to him about the end of the age. And he began to tell them about what would happen when the time had ended and in his return, or the end of the world. I'm reading from Matthew chapter 24. I'm going to start reading in verse 3. When he was sitting in the Mount of Olives. Now they've left Jerusalem, crossed the Kidron Valley. Instead of being in the temple, they're up in the Mount of Olives. The disciples came to him privately, saying, Tell us, when will this be? What will be the sign of your coming and the end of the age? Jesus answered them, Beware that no one leads you astray, for many will come in my name, saying, I'm Messiah. They will lead many astray. And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not alarmed, for this must take place, but the end is not yet. For nations will rise against nations, kingdoms against kingdoms. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All this is just the beginning, or but the beginning of birth pains. These events that have been foretold here by Jesus, we have seen happen in the last 100 years, but have escalated in the last 50 years. Jesus continues in verse 9. Then they will hand you over to be tortured and put you to death. This is happening right now in Iran. This is happening right now in Nigeria and in other countries that are not friendly to the gospel around the world, predominantly Muslim countries. But today I saw a story of a young man named Enoch Burke who was taken from his job teaching German in a Christian school in the Republic of Ireland because he refused to use they pronoun instead of the appropriate pronoun for a boy. He's being persecuted over that. Now he's not being handed over for death, at least not yet. But it's not just in Iran and Nigeria. Then they will hand you over to be tortured and will put you to death, and you will be hated by all nations because of my name. Then many will fall away, and they will betray one another and hate one another. And many false prophets will arise and lead many astray. Because of the increase of lawlessness, the love of many will grow cold. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. And the good news of the kingdom will be proclaimed throughout the world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. Did you see those two phrases? Let's say three phrases. And many false prophets will arise and lead many astray. And because of the increase of lawlessness, many will grow cold. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. The Lord has warned us. This is coming. Don't give up. We can endure if we will refrain from, refuse to cast away our confidence in the Lord. If we will refuse to give up our confidence in Jesus, if we will just continue to obey him, we may pay a price. There might be a cost, but we will overcome. Not because we are the overcomers, but because he who is in us is greater than he that is in the world. He promised that in the world we would have tribulation. In the book of John, he said, "Be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. You are with me." We will trust him. He will keep his word. I don't know how long it'll be. I've heard all my life that it just could be any day now, and it might be. Endure. Don't give up. The people who don't win are the people who quit. And we have no reason to quit. We have no reason to give up. Endure till the end. And let the Lord say when the end is. I'm Jeff Lemire for the Bohemian Disciple to encourage you, never give up.